page 10, 8.2.
Page 10.
Yeah.
Now, in what cases would you guys reject the answer?
Inexperienced on-site monitor. I mean, I have, it's been the situation, I think, all the projects, you're gonna find there's probably some really qualified folks in this area. And, what we're looking for is not to have, Joe Schmo on-site monitor do the work. You need to have someone that's qualified because it's time sensitive and a lot of work. So
Yeah.
as long as it's a qualified person, there shouldn't be no objection.
Could we have more days for that? Because it will take some time.
Especially when you go back and forth again. It's a little short.
Well, keep in mind, company can object. And then the meeting's within 3 days to discuss, and maybe reason for that, so it doesn't mean the company gets to veto, it means the company gets to explain why they're objecting. And the town board has to be reasonable in identifying a qualified, independent engineering firm. Again, lawyers can argue about what's reasonable and what's input, but I don't see that it gives the company veto power. It gives the company, they can raise an objection and you have to listen to them. Say, okay, well, why do you object? Well, here's why. This engineering firm has never done a road project anymore. Or this engineering firm knows nothing about roads. They only do, hydropower projects, I don't know, for instance. Now, if the company is very adamant that we don't think this person's qualified, the town is very adamant that we think they are, then we might get into a dispute going forward. But the way I would envision it working is if the company raises an objection, they should probably come back and say, here's why we don't think this firm is qualified to be on-site monitor, and here's 3 or 4 or 5 other firms that we believe are qualified, and the town should consider that input, and, if that objection is truly reasonable, say, okay, well, we could look at other firms, but it would be town selection. Is that consistent, Rob, with
Yes.
you think it would work right?
Yeah, it typically says in our experience with every other project we've worked on, the 2 of us have never been involved, right? It's going to be Justin and Emily, or somebody, if it's not you, whoever it is, talking, say, hey, this is who we're thinking. What do you think? Do you have an objection to this? And that's.
So it's not going to be a big war, like, we don't like these guys.
And it also goes to, not everyone's going to want to hear this, but it also, we have to notify the state as well.
For the on-site monitor.
That we're going to let them know that the on-site monitor has been picked. You can't start construction until that's taken care of.
So what time frame should we start searching for an on-site
So
monitor?
I'll tell you this, and to use Casadega, and I'm not trying to say you have to follow Casadega, but the Casadega model was when we have the HTA signed, they had already picked their on-site monitor. Was that too early? I don't know. They ended up using their on-site monitor as their consultant through the Article 10 process. So those were signed before the application was even submitted. So it's just when you guys get comfortable.
I guess we need to know when you guys are gonna definitely start construction, so we
Right.
can get our
Yeah, I
next
mean, we
one.
states in that early 60 days at least before we have to put that
Well, I think
information
we need
in
more
front.
than 60 days.
They're talking about construction in the summer,
Early.
Yeah.
early summer. Beginning of the year, town should be.
You're going to be, it would be, foolhardy for us to do it, because we, as soon as the information is known, it's gonna come out, we need to make sure it's certain, with that certainty. We wanna make sure we're providing as much notice as possible. Yeah, I'm taking my notes.
email back?
Yes.
Okay. Was there anything else in there? Why didn't you?
What's that? What's that?
Notes or anything?
Body damage? You have
Bert?
anything?
I noticed Exhibit E on the back is blank, deals with seasonal plowing, seasonal road plowing.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
I thought you just had a form. We were just gonna attach your, whatever your form said.
Well, I think we need to read through this and make sure we all
Oh,
agree on
okay.
this. Here's another. And you guys have your seasonal limit? This one? Seth, did you have a copy?
I did not see that.
Do you want me to read it out loud?
Not for me.
Okay.
I remember reading it when we met.
I just wanna make sure we all agree to this.
I like Justin.
Is it not different than, I'd seen something like this.
No, it's exactly what
Okay.
John Vogel actually wrote a year ago. You can find that. I can read through the bullet points of it if you guys want.
That would be great.
Barren Winds is hereby authorized by the town of Fremont to remove ice and snow from those seasonal limited use roads in the town of Fremont which provide access to Barren Winds turbine sites, such seasonal limited use highways to be designated by the town highway superintendent. That Barren Winds, its officers, agents, and employees shall be permitted unrestricted access and use of such seasonal limited use highways. That Barren Winds agrees to fully identify, save, and hold harmless the town of Fremont and all its officers, agents, and employees from and against and any and all liability of any kind whatsoever, including but not limited to, and any and all damages, expenses, causes of action, lawsuits, claims, penalties, fines, assessments, and or judgments related to, arising out of, or occurring in connection with any use of the seasonal limited use highways for which Barren Winds LLC has assumed responsibility for snow and ice removal pursuant to this agreement. Barren Winds shall at its own cost and expense defend any and all actions or suits which may be brought against the town of Fremont for any of its officers, agents, and or employees, or in which the town of Fremont or said officers, agents, or employees may be impeded with others upon any such mentioned claims. In the event of Barren Winds LLC failure to do so, the town of Fremont, at its option without being obligated to do so, may at Barren Winds' cost and expense, and upon prior written notice to Barren Winds, defend any and all suits or actions. Barren Winds shall satisfy, pay, and discharge any and all judgments that may be recorded against the town of Fremont or any of its officers, agents, and employees in any such suits or actions which may be brought against the town of Fremont or any of its officers, agents, or employees, or which the town or any of its officers, agents, or employees may be impeded with others. Barren Winds shall pay the reasonable costs of any such defense, including but not limited to the town of Fremont's legal fees and court costs. Barren Winds' obligations shall not be deemed waived, limited, or discharged by the enumeration or procurement of any insurance for liability or damages hereunder. This agreement shall be binding upon the parties hereof, their successors, and assigned, and cannot be modified in any fashion except by a written agreement executed by the parties. This agreement shall be interpreted and enforced pursuant to the laws of the state of New York.
nutshell version of that is Fremont doesn't maintain and plow those roads in the winter because they're seasonal. And if Barren Winds wants to use them, Barren Winds is responsible for that use, maintenance, and anything that results from it.
Here's the question, what, is the intent to say that if there's a seasonal road, we have to plow it? It's only if we do.
It's, if you plow it and someone drives down it and gets in a wreck, the town does not want to be held responsible as,
Because typically, you're saying that those roads are closed and people know it.
and you guys plow it, and then Joe Blow goes out there and goes four-wheeling and gets hurt somehow. And then they come back on the town because it wasn't 100% safe.
Okay.
I've seen FedEx trucks. go
I've
down-
seen the
Only
FedEx
FedEx,
truck.
yeah.
So
Only
there's
FedEx,
not.
go down seasonal roads and get stuck and have to get towed.
Really?
We had to tow one out with a tractor.
I've seen people from New Jersey
Yeah.
go seasonal roads because their GPS took them that way.
It
Because I
is
had
not
to
the
go
Make sure
town's
they don't
intent
use.
by this to say that you have an obligation to plow seasonal roads. It's that you have the right to do so, to access your sites,
That's why I think we
and
need
you're
that.
indemnifying the town for the consequences or impact of that.
Yeah, I would just, if I could jump in, I mean, just one thing on this. In the first, designing, constructing, I would want to add operating and maintaining, just for a practical adder.
Now, what about, say you guys plow up gravel while you're plowing,
Yeah, so that,
so you'll need to repair them too.
yeah, so that's the other thing too, is, so UPS truck, or somebody from Jersey wrecks. And typically they call it a tow truck and they pay for themselves and they're not thinking, but it's a little bit different, I think, could be, when it's, when they know it's been plowed and identified with the wind company, right? So I think that we open ourselves up to, not that we're obligated to do it, but clearly, I personally am more inclined to go after the wind company to get my $150 back for a plow or however much it is, than I would be if it were the town. So I wonder if there's some way that we ourselves could limit that or identify, whether through signage or just throwing it on the table.
They should still be posted as seasonal roads.
Yeah,
But
Yeah, we're not gonna take the signs down.
yeah, so maybe it's plowed for use by wind company or,
You guys would have to put up
Yeah.
your own.
yeah, that's fine, just we'll noodle.
Yeah, all right.
But what about your contractors say they really muck up the road? We need to add something in here saying that you will repair the road in the spring, or just so the town doesn't have a big mess.
Yeah, I guess there, it's just, we'd have to figure out how to set a baseline, right?
That's
Maybe-
maybe the hard part.
Yeah, maybe that baseline is through the road study, but 10 years from now, it could be a totally different.
Every year it's probably gonna be, I'm assuming a lot of the seasonal roads are gravel roads too. Hard.
I believe that is in part, if not, may not be total, but it is at least in part covered by the road use agreement itself.
No, we don't have the term. We changed it.
Choice. Could always pave the
Because
roads,
there's not,
anyone doing any gravel.
If it was, I was thinking that if the road use agreement covered the life of the project, then absolutely, every time.
As long as it's a seasonal road, seems though if you posted it and had signs up there that it was a wind company road, and then somebody comes on it and it's illegal. And they'd be forced to pave their own way out.
Yeah, I think we can determine,
I mean,
but
come on.
back on that, if it's, I understand, like our guys, we clear it for our use, we tear up the
Yeah,
road,
yeah,
whatever. It's just we need to figure out how to determine, because obviously we wanna leave them in the same condition they were. Yeah,
But I don't know if you wanna reimburse the town in the spring for any repair, something like.
Or, say they could hire another guy to fix it.
Isn't that the
But
whole
then we're
plan, that
getting
the roads
into-
would be returned to as good or better condition?
Return to,
But then
The
we're
way they
getting into
were.
contractors on the town road.
Scary.
yeah, it is scary.
That's
Yeah.
They were the worst
kinda
issue I've
opening
ever
up a
seen.
can of worms.
it's okay, I'm sure there's a way to, I feel.
If I can make an observation, a seasonal limited use highway is still a public highway. It's simply that the town is saying, the state has agreed to that we're not going to plow it and keep it open, safe for public use. But that does not mean that the public cannot use that road, in the sense they're doing so at their own risk and liability. So the issue of, can we post it so that, Harry from New Jersey or FedEx or whoever can't go down there? No, they're perfectly free to go down there because it is a public road. But we don't have to take responsibility for getting them out. So those are some of the issues. And I actually got involved in a lawsuit in Wyoming County where the town took the position, they actually put a barrier up and said, you can't go down this road. And a hunter brought a challenge and prevailed, that the town could not close the road by claiming it was a seasonal limited use highway. It's limited use, but it's still a public road.
So right now, if someone was in a seasonal road and got stuck, you're saying that the town still is?
Yeah, they don't have to do
No,
anything like
they're
that.
not
It's,
doing it.
you just can't restrict public access
Yeah, we can't put
to
up a
it.
gate.
So we shouldn't change that, I mean,
No,
We're
so
not-
it'll still be posted as a seasonal limited use road, and anyone who drives on it, plowed or not, in theory, will have a higher burden to prove that there was an unsafe condition caused by the town. And again, typically, the claim, you probably actually open up yourself up more if you put up signs about barren winds. Typically, they're gonna look at it and say, it's a town road, they can seek a challenge against, seek a claim against the town. If they do so, the burden is to prove that the town was negligent, or irresponsible in its maintenance, and part of what the state allows is the town doesn't have to plow it if it's designated as a seasonal limited use road. They don't have to plow it, put the sand on it, and do other things to keep it in a safe condition. This is simply saying that if it's more inviting, or if, something that barren winds does makes it unsafe, the barren winds will indemnify the town against any claims and bear responsibility for that.
The only other matter I would have, and again, I don't know the specific procedures, when it comes seasonal limited use highway, there's a notice provision that I believe every fall requires that you have a notice in the newspaper that says, as well as the sign, that says that the public is being put on notice that it's a seasonal limited use road. I haven't researched that in recent years, but that sticks in my memory of a requirement. So it would be strongly advised and recommended, make sure that we research that. So for a fall, I think it's December 1st, that you publish a notice that says that it's a seasonal limited use road between, I believe it's December 1 and April 1st or 15th, that the town's not going to be doing any maintenance. And then if people go ahead and use it anyway, they do so at their own risk.
I use seasonal roads quite often. Once the snow flies, I don't use them.
Yeah, I was about to say that you don't use them.
It's kind of accepts them.
Right.
You just go around, so typically here, if you
Yeah, instead of saving 2 miles,